Hello and welcome. This is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about some DIY wedding ideas. Whether you're planning a wedding for yourself or for someone else, or you can use these ideas for like a graduation party or something like that. Now today's video is sponsored by Cricut, however all projects and opinions are my own. What are we going to make? So I'm going to use my Cricut Explorer, but you could also use your Cricut Maker because we're going to use the print and cut function to make some advice cards. Now I designed these specifically for a wedding, but you could use the same idea to design some for like a graduation or anniversary party or something like that. So I have the advice cards. I have a dollar store vase to drop them in once you're done with them, along with some dollar store decorations on the front, because there's no reason to spend a ton on your wedding. And then I made a cute frame to pull the whole thing together. Again, I got this from the dollar store and just decorated it with my Cricut. So let's get started and take a look at the supplies we're gonna need to make all three projects, including those items from the dollar store. So for this project, from the dollar store, I picked up a wood frame that has a heart cut out. I picked up some chalkboard hearts, some wood clothespins, a tall glass vase, some twine because I think I'll need some extra. And then you'll also need your Cricut machine, some permanent vinyl. I'm going to use the color Tulip, some transfer tape, some printable vinyl, some white cardstock, an 8.5 by 11 size works best for less waste, weeding tool, scraper, as well as some sort of paint for your frame itself. So let's start off by painting our frame, and then we'll cut all of our pieces on our Explorer. We're just going to paint the frame just a neutral gray. I am using chalk paint. That's my favorite paint for projects like this, but you can definitely just pick up your favorite paint from the craft store. And I'll just paint this entire frame, including the sides, set it aside, and allow it to dry before continuing. Next, let's cut all of our pieces. So I will have a link in the description below to the canvas that I used for this. First, for the cards, I printed these on just my white cardstock. I printed several copies, and we'll use our Cricut to cut around those because it's going to cut around these flowers and make for a super cute shape. Next up, we have the printable vinyl, and I just did one of those printed on this printable vinyl to add to our frame. And then we'll cut the permanent vinyl, the tulip color, into the words for both our vase as well as our frame. So let's head to our Cricut machine and start cutting. First, for the cards, I have my dial set to cardstock and my fine point blade in the clamp. And then we're just going to feed the mat in with our paper attached and hit the C to cut. And now let's take a look at our cuts. Here's the cut card still on the mat, and I did want to talk about how to remove these from the mat. So you don't want them curling up, so you want to peel the mat back from the material. You can continue and cut as many cards as you need for your wedding. I've changed my dial to vinyl, and I'm going to cut my printable vinyl piece. It will do the same procedure as with the cards. We can just leave our dial on the vinyl setting and add our vinyl for our final cuts. Then we'll just remove the mat and take a look at our cuts. Next, you want to weed your vinyl pieces. So I've already completed one, and then we'll just do these other ones. So So I like to weed around the outside first. And then you just grab things like the centers of any letters. And now we're ready to complete our project. I'm starting with a piece of transfer tape large enough for the larger design because I'm going to use the same piece for both of the projects. So for this one, we'll just peel it back. We'll just add it to this piece of vinyl. You just want to burnish from the front as well as the back. And then peel back the carrier sheet, leaving the vinyl on the transfer tape. Then once you have that, I'm just going to add it to the front of this chalkboard heart. Then after we've burnished that well, we'll just peel back that transfer tape, leaving the vinyl on the heart. Then once you have that vinyl on the heart, we'll just burnish it down a little bit more. And now we can add it to the vase itself. So we want it somewhere about in the middle of the vase. And then I have a long piece of twine to tie that on. So I'm just going to loop it through my heart. Get an approximate location, and I am going to tie a bow at that location. Then we can just add that to the vase with a little clothespin at the top in the center of that bow. And then you can trim off the excess length on the twine. So now this vase is ready for your cards. Now we need to finish the picture frame for the entire display. So here's our picture frame. The paint has dried. And then I have my vinyl already on my transfer tape, and then we have the printed vinyl piece as well. So what we want to do is sort of locate this vinyl, and what I think I'm going to do is just kind of cut around this a little bit. Just so I can use it for a location, so I can get a rough idea of where that's going to be located. So then I'm going to place down the vinyl and remove this out for now. We'll just burnish that down. And then we'll just peel back that transfer tape. Leaving the vinyl on our wood surface. And then once it's on there, once again, we'll just burnish that a little bit more, and then we'll peel and stick the printable vinyl right to the top. And now all we have to do is add a picture of the couple. And here are those finished projects, including the frame, the vase to put the cards in, and the cards themselves. So I'm in love with these cute advice cards. I love the fact that the Cricut cuts this super fancy cut at the top around the flowers. They are absolutely my favorite. And then the fact that I was able to use that same design from the top to put on the frame just sort of brings it all together for me. And then for me, I love decorating for weddings, parties, that type of thing, with things I can reuse later. That way the things don't go to waste. So the picture frame itself can be used by the couple for years and years to come. And then the vase, I intentionally made the decoration sort of temporary, so they can just remove the clothespin, remove the decoration, and they have a vase for their home. So think about those type of things when you're thinking about those DIY wedding ideas. What is something you can incorporate, make with your Cricut? It looks great at the wedding, but it can also be used in the couple's home after the ceremony is over. So I'd encourage you to think about that, because there's no reason in going to all the trouble of making these gorgeous projects if they're just going to be thrown away after the wedding. So I hope you enjoyed this project. Again, I'll link to everything I used in the description below, including the Cricut Design Space canvas that includes the cuts for all 3 projects I made today. You can take a look at that if you want to design your own advice cards for like a graduation party or anniversary party. This one would definitely work for anniversary party. Like, it's generic enough that you could just use the one I designed. For a graduation party, you might want to change it up just a little bit, maybe change the wording on the advice card and the cut file on the frame, something like that. But otherwise, have fun with this project. I know you'll love using your Cricut to make all sorts of things for your wedding or any other party. So thank y'all so much for joining me today. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we've covered today, drop down to the comment section and ask away. If you haven't already, head to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have Cricut videos every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. Thanks y'all, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.